Hi, my name is Chester Fields the fourth, and I'm with somebody today, and I'm just going to ask him a question real quick. What is your favorite part of working at Two Men in a Truck?
So my name's Dean. I've been here for about 2 years now. My favorite part of working at Two Men on a Truck would obviously just be the different experiences. Every day when you walk into somebody's house, you never know what you're gonna have to pick up, who you're gonna meet, things like that. So it's obviously just the randomness of the job that keeps me excited to come in the next day. How about you?
Yeah, you do see a lot of random things, that's for sure. Every day you go in, something's different. There's never the same type of thing every day. It's not like a 9 to 5 where you know exactly what you're getting into. Some days are easy, some days are hard, some days are short, some days are long. What I like about this job the most, though, is actually the people here. We got good people. Everyone here has been through something at some point in their lives, and I think that really helps create a bond between us because we all understand at the end of the day, you just got to live, and people here understand that more than other places, and that's what we do. We live.
That's true. I agree with that a lot. Um, what would be your most memorable move?
I was literally thinking about this question yesterday before I went to my job. Um, it was so hard to think of one. In recent memory, I did uh, I did a long haul that was split up into two different trucks. It was I believe a total of like 16,000 pounds. So we did it 2 different weeks. Originally, it was only going to be the first trip was going to be 2 Men in a Truck, drive down to South Carolina, or no, it was Georgia. My bad. We drove down to Georgia to unload a full truck. It was just all the heavy furniture, and then that second trip was actually going to be a LTL job. But she liked us so much that she just wanted us to come back and do the full move for her, finish it up. So that's what I did. I went down with Red on that first trip, and then Fred on the second one, and it was a good time. Great customers, very kind and courteous, and the job was relatively smooth as well.
Sounds good.
What about your favorite job?
One of my favorite jobs I think I can remember would have to be in recent memory. There was a two trucker that we did. Obviously, it's one of the larger jobs, but this lady, she was so unprepared, but it's all right. We were able to keep her calm, and her move went very smooth. She ended up thanking us at the end for being able to keep everything under control. It was sort of a last minute experience. And that made me feel really good about us as a company, how we were able to turn somebody's life around on the flip of a dime and just make her overall happy with her experience and take that the weight of having to move last minute off of her shoulders.
Good man. Long hauls.
Long hauls.
That's me and Dean here. He goes by Dean. Uh, we are basically long haul partners. I do almost all of my long hauls with him, and what a long haul essentially is it's an out of state move. Typically, it goes 1 or 2 states over, but it's more often than not an overnight trip. And when that happens, we take a truck out, go load it up. We drive, get to a hotel, spend the night, and the next day we unload. Is how your average long haul is going to go. Um, done a lot of them. I've done a couple dozen since I became a driver. A little over a year ago now. Um, Most of them have either been with an old partner of mine, Robbie. Has Robbie been on the podcast before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So him, I did a lot of my long hauls with him, and then in recent memory, almost all my long hauls have been with this guy over here. Do you have anything to say?
I think one of the most memorable long hauls we just did would have to be. It was about a week long. We loaded up here in Columbus, went all the way down to Georgia, and the guy said once this move was done, he was going to have a second one, and that he would request us. But then after we finished down in Georgia, we ended up having to drive back to Chattanooga to pick up. Well, on the way back from Georgia, we ended up getting stuck in a snowstorm, and that was pretty insane. We ended up having to take a day and a half stay in the hotel because of the inclement weather we were having. Chattanooga said that they had never had a snowstorm like that in about 4 to 5 years.
Well, we had to preface this, it wasn't that bad of a snowstorm. It was down south. There wasn't that much snow. It wasn't a day and a half. We had one day off to kind of reset our schedules because as a driver, I'm a driver, he's a mover. I drive the trucks, and as a driver, you can only have a certain amount of hours driving before it becomes illegal in terms of um, DOT. I don't know how to explain DOT, so sorry about that. But essentially, I can only drive so much before I'm driving legally. And so the way that they fix that when you go on long hauls like that, where they're a week long, is they give you a rest day, a day off. That way they can reset your time. So we had one full day off normally, and then the next morning we got iced into the hotel's parking lot, and I tried to drive up the hill, slid right back down. It's like we can't do that. So we wasted a good 3 4 hours trying to get out of there. Eventually we managed, and then went to the job. I got sick on that job, so the last 2 3 days. How long was it? That trip was 2 days, right?
That trip was the back haul from Chattanooga was 2 days,
Yeah.
3 days.
For those 2 days, 3 days, I was very ill. I headache the whole time, sick. It was a good experience though. Customer was great. He was very kind. Um, but yeah, so anything can happen on a normal job. A lot more can happen on a long haul where you're just out for multiple days at a time. So
With no backup, but he was still able to power through it because he's like that.
yeah, we don't need backup here.
And I think that's the rest of that conversation.
Dean, what do you do to make sure the customer is satisfied with our moving service?
First, when I get there, we like to do a walkthrough with the customer, make sure that everything's going.
Step one.
And if everything's not going, then we obviously make sure that that's specified up front. Obviously, things change throughout the day, so as moving continues, you usually want to check in about halfway loaded, make sure everything's all right. If not, obviously you get that fixed first, and if that requires a little bit of communication with dispatch, you get that under control as well. Dispatch, that's the people behind the scenes, the people who tell us what to do, where to go, things like that. So obviously, if a customer has something come up, you have to get it cleared because you don't know if you've got another job later or not. But then once it's cleared, then you get it under control. We get loaded, we go over to the unload, we do another walkthrough, um, make sure everything's exactly where they want it. Some customers, they're just like, get it into the house and I'll deal with it. Others, you have people who got stuff going on in life, and that's all right. So you got to make sure that it's where they want it, when they want it, so that way they don't have to fix it later on. How about you?
You also got to make sure you smile, be kind to them, make sure that they understand that we're here to help, um, and that we are going to take care of their items the best we can. And the best way to do that is with a big smile, kind words, treat everything with respect, treat everyone with respect, and that'll get you pretty far in most cases. Um, Huge thing as well. That's how you make a move go satisfyingly. A move going smoothly is a little bit different. It takes a lot of hard work ethic. There are some jobs that are going to be a little difficult, maybe not quite the right estimate, and you just gotta power through that. You gotta work faster, you gotta work harder, and customers like that as well. If they see you hustling, if they see you busting your butt for that um, getting them to save that money that they wouldn't be saved otherwise, they will really appreciate that. And I think that goes really far when it comes to reviews as well as us getting tipped. being kind, hardworking, high work ethic. That'll get you through every day here.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
It also helps to be strong.
It does. Definitely helps to be strong.
Mhm.
So, Chester, what do you
Dean.
tend to listen to when you move, if you listen to music?
You're leading with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. I listen to everything when I'm moving. So my thing with music is that it doesn't matter what genre it is, except for jazz. I do like jazz, but also not like jazz. It's a sore spot for me. But my main thing when it comes to music is the lyrics. If I can relate to the lyrics, I'll like the song. Doesn't matter what genre it is. When I move, though, when I'm doing anything physical, whether I'm at the gym or I'm moving, I typically tend to lean towards rap or like high beat music. Some like not quite rap, but still like the hip hop genre. I don't listen to a lot of heavy metal or rock. I do listen to a little bit of classic rock, but typically when I'm moving, it'll be rap. So, what about you?
Typically, I don't like to have headphones in while I'm moving just for communication. But so when I am listening to music, I'll have it playing out loud in my pocket. So typically, it'll be like any old school country or like modern day, family friendly music, just because you never know who's listening. You don't know who's going to be appreciative of what type of music you're playing. So honestly, what I'll do is I'll ask if it's okay if I can play some music out loud, and if so, then I'll put some music on, and if not, then we'll just get back to work. It doesn't bother me either way. It's just something that helps the day go by smoother. If you had one piece of advice for anyone who wanted to start here at TMT, what would it be?
Only one piece of advice. I think the most important thing for new guys here or people who want to start here is just understanding that it's a physical job, but a lot of people who work here and maybe even people who think that they'd be a good fit here did sports either in high school or in college, which definitely will help you with this job for sure. But a lot of people think that it's going to help you a lot more than it actually does. This job, you use a lot of muscles that you don't normally use when you're just working out at the gym because they're movement muscles, right? So you're going to be holding not that heavy of items, but you'll be holding them up for a long time. You're going to strain your back, so make sure that you take good care of your body and don't overestimate your own strength. What about you?
I think what one piece of advice would be to give someone who's just starting out here or hasn't started out but has been looking into investing in the company is it's not like moving a family member or anything like that. This isn't private moving, this is professional moving. There's a specific way that we have to do things around here to ensure customer satisfaction, things like that. So if you come in here with the mindset, oh, I'm just going to move these things how I would move my own stuff, it's not going to go so well with you. We do have a training class that lasts for about a week and a half. It's 5 days in house, 3 days out in the field. And if you do well, listen and just watch others, let others lead by example, you'll do great around here. A lot of people come in and they're like, well, I've moved family members before, so I know what I'm doing. And it's like, yeah, okay, you know how to lift things and things like that, but there's a specific tempo that you got to keep and a specific cautionness that you have to have as well because you are handling other people's stuff.
Say something, and then I blanked out. Um, what was the question?
A piece of advice for new people starting out?
What was what was the first thing you said? You said something that made
That
my
it's not private moving, it's professional, and it's different than moving people who just like family members and friends.
right. No, I got nothing.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah.
I'll have to edit that part out.
Starting here, Dean. How about you start? How did
All right.
you get started at Two Man Truck Columbus?
So originally, I used to do a lot of warehousing work, and I wanted something different. So I was scrolling through Indeed and I saw two men in a truck, movers who care, and I happened to put in an application. It took them about a day to respond. It started off with mine was back during when COVID was still around. So they weren't really doing in-person interviews. It was more just like Zoom interviews and things like that. Process went pretty smooth. They were just asking, like, they asked if they could run a background check, obviously, because all of our employees have to have no charges or anything like that, no theft, obviously. And that went pretty smooth. And then the next thing was just coming in for orientation. They give you a tour of the building, let you meet some of the managers. Then they do like every Wednesday they'll do a new hire lunch, so that way you can talk to the people above the managers, learn more about the company. And then after that they do like a Temple of Doom, which is like it's basically a small house inside of our large warehouse to see if you'll be cut out for moving large furniture through tight areas.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. Now back to me. So my onboarding process was uh, pretty simple. It's probably pretty similar to most people's. I didn't have a job. I had worked at a previous place before, um, and I ended up having to quit that job, and I needed something. And at the time, I wasn't living very close by to here, so I had applied to other places. And again, like Dean said here, a lot of it was Zoom call interviews. Um, those didn't work out well. I'm not good with that Zoom type of stuff. I like to do interviews in person. So I applied here, got I believe it was either a text or an email back relatively quickly. Immediately asked if I could get on an interview. Um, Next day, came in for that interview, and I believe you were shadowing for my interview. Maybe, I think so. Uh, and they liked me, I guess, and I got the job. And then a couple days, I think it was the next day or the day after that, I started at orientation. It was pretty smooth. It was a lot to take in. I hadn't been to Columbus before, and it was a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and it was a whole different feel to it than where I used to live. So it was definitely a big adjustment in that aspect. This guy swears up and down we were in the same training class. We were not. We were not in the same training class. We were a week separate. We didn't. I didn't see this man one time. Um, but it was definitely a good experience. They made it really simple to get kind of shifted into this style of job between both the present, kind of like the overall presentation of what this job is for. They laid out exactly what the expectations were. There were no hidden meanings. They let you know when you got here what was expected of you and what you should expect of the company, which is very nice. Not a lot of companies do that. Very straightforward. And then when it got to the actual training aspect, we have a great trainer here. He been around for a while. He knows exactly what he's doing. Very kind, very energetic guy as well. He's a pleasure to be around, and I'm glad to have him as our trainer. He definitely is. Even now, I will ask him a question, and he'll be able to help me out with it. Just a plethora of knowledge there. So, yeah.
I'd like to build on that for just a moment. Not only is our trainer very kind and energetic, but all the managers are as well. Like, if you could just take a moment and if they need something from you, get that done, they'll remember that later on down the road. And that's how you move up quickly in the ranks here. Just making sure that you don't turn down work, making sure that, like, if they ask you to do something, then as long as you're doing it properly, they'll remember that. And then later on down the road, when come summertime, there's 130, 150 employees because we get a lot of work. You'll be a name that they remember, and you won't just get thrown into the mosh pit of employees.
I think another big aspect on that is just working hard. Whatever job you get put on, do it to the best of your abilities. Stay in contact with your upper management. But definitely, there's a lot of guidelines in terms of the right way to do things here, and you should definitely follow those. Uh, but also just kind of work hard. There's not an answer to everything, and when problems arise like that, hard work and the mentality to be able to push through without complaining about it is definitely going to be something that the dispatchers and management really like, and as well as the people you're working with as well. If you're the type of guy that puts his nose down and works hard and is still kind and courteous, you're going to be well liked between your coworkers and the upper management. So, Dean, my guy, what are your hobbies or interests? Any fun facts about yourself?
So, when I'm not working, I have a family at home. I've got a wife and a kid and a dog. So, when I'm not working, my first thing is I'll spend some time with them because during summertime we could be working anywhere up to 10 to 12-hour shifts. And that can get pretty exhausting on the family aspect. So when you get home, you got to check in with them, obviously. But we like to go to the park, hang out. But then when I make sure after my family's all satisfied and everything like that, I spend the rest of my time playing video games. Um, Anywhere between Call of Duty or like World of Warcraft. I'm very adventurous in all sorts of video game aspects. How about you?
Me, um, I I am a self-proclaimed hobby jumper. I I will start one hobby one month, and I will be on to a different one by the end of that month. So I don't really stick with very many hobbies for very long. Um, the one that I have stuck with since I started it years ago was I like to write light novels. So I spend not as much time as I probably should for considering it a hobby, but I do write books. I haven't gotten any of them published yet, but I also haven't tried too hard for that. Maybe I will. Um, and fun fact about me is I have a beard. No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty obvious. You can't tell because I got hoodie on, but I have a couple of tattoos. Getting another tattoo soon. Yeah. I got a puppy recently as well. Just forgot
Yeah.
about that actually.
Yeah.
Can't believe I did. He woke me up this morning. Um he You have a beautiful dog. What
Yeah.
what was it? A husky?
I've got a husky.
He's got a husky.
Yeah.
I think.
Very, very energetic dog. Very, very energetic dog.
Very beautiful dog. Huskies are gorgeous. Um I have a poodle something mix. Cannot for the life of me ever remember what that mix is. I believe he's a couple of months old. His name is Sprite. My roommate named him after the little black sprite characters in Final Fantasy, I think. I don't know where she got the name from. She showed me a picture of it. I don't remember. He is a little monster though. He is a puppy through and through. He tears everything up he can. He just recently, actually about 2-3 days ago, learned how to vocalize his bark properly, and he has made sure that everyone in the neighborhood knows that. Um, but he's adorable. He is a jet black. He's little. He's very small. Um, I was told he was going to get medium size, and then I found out I was lied to. He's not going to get medium size. He's going to stay small, and that's kind of disappointing. I would like big dogs, but he's still cute, so I can manage. Um, it's very it's very nice having pets for sure. I've had a lot of pets throughout my life, and they just liven up the mood.
Agree.
All right. For the next podcast, I'd like to see Ezekiel and CJ up here. Two great dudes. I think they would make for a good podcast. I would also like to come back on with somebody else who's been on before, Robbie. He was my partner for a very long time after I became a driver. So we've spent a lot of time together. We know each other pretty well. So I think it'd be fun to kind of conversate with each other in this sort of setting again. Um,
Kind of
so
reminisce on some old memories.
reminisce on some old memories, like what type of moves we had together before, because we had some moves. So I think that'd be fun. So definitely me and Robbie, or Ezekiel and CJ.
And I think I'll nominate George and Marcus. They are our Packers. They go out every day, and they are the front lines. If people aren't ready, they're the front lines. They get first experiences with the customer. What they'll do is they'll come out, and I'm sure they'll tell you about it as well. But they are really the front lines of customer service right there. George, he's an excellent guy to be around. Marcus, he'll he'll put his nose down and he'll get to work as soon as he gets to the house. But don't get me wrong, they're both super friendly guys on the back end.
I know what character you would be.
Yeah.
James from Team Rocket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. You want
James from Team Rocket. Pokemon.
to
Very old stuff. At least this one is. So
you want to evaluate on that?
value. I mean, he just. I don't know. Like you just. I tried so hard.
Yeah.
You got me thinking more. James. That's all I got. James from Team Rocket.
And
Maybe that bearded Meowth in the new games too. So
and Chester, I think if you could describe him with a character for his personality, would definitely be Baymax. When you meet him, as soon as he walks in the door, if he's doing paperwork, he'll come off kind of intimidating, but once you give him a chance, he's definitely a real cool guy. He'll make sure everything goes smooth with your move, and just because he's big and burly doesn't necessarily mean he's big and bad.
thank you. Thank you, Dean. Anyway, it was a pleasure being on. Hope everyone enjoyed this.
And who knows? Maybe we'll catch you out there in the field sometime. I think that's it.
Sorry.